Welcome back everyone, Michael and Katrina from STR Wealth Academy. In this video, we want to dive into the exciting topic of how to provide amazing customer service, filtering back to previous videos we've done on how to start an Airbnb business in 2024.
Guys, guest communication, this is like massive. I know everything is massive, but this is a hospitality type business. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. And what does that come down to? Having incredible customer experience, your style, you can be professional and casual, but the number one thing is also being very quick on your responses. And we'll get into kind of the structure of really what is the best kind of customer and guest communication you can provide, and the different tools and hacks to make it easier for you as a host as well, especially as you're growing and scaling.
This is really important because what we've definitely seen in our own business is that guest expectations have changed massively over the last couple of years. When we got started back in 2018, people were a lot more patient. They were a lot more lenient. Airbnb at that time was still kind of a newer concept, just kind of making its way through zeitgeist, through the socially. And, people just thought it was cool that you can go crash on, someone's house and, have a really good time. But the thing is now, people's expectations have gone way, way, way up. People are way less patient. They are a lot more demanding. And this is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that where the industry has evolved to and where the industry is going, in order for you to really stand out and succeed at this, you have to be able to put a strong emphasis on customer service, hospitality, and providing an amazing experience for your guests.
And the whole reason behind this as well is, number one, it's like making sure each and every guest has a consistent experience. But number two, make sure they want to rebook and stay with you again. This is why it's so crucial, because they're like, wow, this was like one of the smoothest experiences I've had. I'm definitely only going to book with Michael and Katrina, or only going to book with Bob. That's how important it is as well, especially if this is your full-time thing and you have multiple properties. You definitely want repeat customers. And this is a massive way to make sure that you're given the best service and they only want to book with you.
We'll give you guys kind of a framework of how to think about customer service, how to think about guest communication. And again, all of this will tie into how to get started in this industry and how to provide an awesome experience for your guests. So let's go through this. So the first point I would say is super important when it comes to providing excellent customer service is just having prompt and clear communication. Nothing can be more stressful for guests when, they book a property, if they reach out to you and ask a question, if it takes forever for you to get back to them, if they're asking you for check-in information, they're not getting it in a timely manner. If they do get the check-in information, there's a lot of missing pieces in terms of how to access the property, how to get checked in. And ultimately, by focusing on being very clear in your communication, this is how you're going to build trust. This is how you're going to build confidence. And ultimately, just giving all the necessary details so that by doing so, that actually lowers the amount of questions that you're going to get asked to by people that are coming through and booking at your property.
We really are in the now society.
Yeah.
Everyone wants everything yesterday and they want just everything to happen immediately.
Yeah.
And Airbnb recognizes this too. And this is what's really important, because they actually measure the amount of time it takes you to get back to a guest, especially after the first message. It's a little tip there. So make sure that you're getting back as quick as you can, have some great automated messages, and that you are have your notifications turned on for any guest messaging. So let's now tie that into point number 2, which is personalized guest experiences. Now, what's really different with Airbnbs and short-term rentals is that it's different than a hotel. It's not like the same person coming through. It's different experiences, different groups coming in, and tailoring your interactions based on specific preferences and needs of each guest is massive. So consider all the small personal touches that you can really make their experience at your property amazing and have such an incredible experience when they're staying there. It could be anything from personalized notes. It could be some really great recommendations to local places, tailoring it to that experience. Like, let's say you have families, and we've talked about this in previous videos before about knowing your market, but also knowing your guests and who you want to bring through. If you have a really large property and you have families coming through, maybe you have high chairs, pack and plays, and you have it maybe set up for them. This is what's going to really set you apart from the hosting herd, but also hotels and any kind of other hospitality they could be staying at.
Now, this brings us to our next point, is that after the reservation is successfully comes through, you want to make sure that you have a comprehensive house manual and welcome guide, okay? Now, what's really important here is you definitely want to invest the time in getting this right, because the more details that you can provide relating to the property, the check-in process, the check-out process, some of the different features you might have in the home, how to use some of the different appliances, what the Wi-Fi password is, what some local restaurants or attractions are in the area, safety information, like all of this really ties into just giving a guest essentially like an FAQ manual, because at the end of the day, if you provide that information, it's just one less question that can be asked to you, and it just, again, it gives that guest a more streamlined experience as they're booking your property, checking in, checking out, and knowing how to actually use the property properly. So again, it just gives a better experience for them as well.
Yeah, guests don't want to have to ask you. It's actually like kicking the butt for them. They're like, I don't want to have to ask about this. This should just be provided. And a lot of people love the experience when they don't even have to talk to you at all. It's all at their own fingertips, and it's so easy for them to access everything in the property. They know exactly what to do, and you've laid it out so simply for them. So this is a huge key for customer service. So this really ties into point number 4, which we're going into reliability and problem solving. So what do we mean by that? When they check into your property, making sure everything is perfect for them. So what do I mean by that? Perfect. It looks like just like the photos. So that's part of customer experience, making sure all the appliances are working. Everything's in great running condition. It's not run down. The drain's not clogged. All ties into their experience. And that's part of the customer experience as well. And a lot of this can be preventative. So preventative maintenance, making sure the beds are tight, there's nothing broken, testing, making sure the light bulbs are on. Like every one of those little details really ties into the experience of the guest staying at your property and wanting to book again and recommending to their friends and family.
This is really, really important. And this kind of ties into point number 5, is not only do you want to make sure you have, the home in good condition and, the maintenance is on point. Probably the biggest thing that is going to be the make or break of your short-term rental business is having consistent and high standards of cleanliness. Okay.
You're cleaning, like we're shaking our heads because like cleaning, that's where all the problems stem from. So to having a really great cleaning process, cleaning team, either external or internal, is going to be just massive to make sure you nail the head on.
Yeah, 100%. So there's obviously a lot of ways you can go about handling cleaning. So whether you have a cleaning team, whether you're building a team in-house, depending on where you're at on your journey, we'll have additional videos on this channel to give you guys ideas of how to think about building a cleaning team, because unless you really enjoy cleaning yourself, if you're like us, I think we did a few cleans very early on in our beginning stage of the business, and we figured out really quickly it's not something that we personally wanted to do.
Definitely have an appreciation for it though.
People are gross, man.
People are gross. All right, let's go to step number 6. So this is the check-in and check-out process and procedure of your listing. So this is what I was saying about that clear, streamlined communication. How are they accessing the property? So make sure your check-in instructions are so clear, having photos, having maybe a video, having very step-by-step, easy to digest, and making sure everything is in there that's correct as well. So automating your check-in codes and making sure it's a smooth transition, and anything that they're needing to do, let's say there's some pre-arrival requirements, that's part of the check-in process. Everything is clear and accessible to them, and they don't have to worry about bugging you when they come to the property. Because let's say they go to the door and their check-in code doesn't work. You're like, oops, I forgot to schedule that in. Or maybe they didn't do some pre-arrival requirements. That already sets them off in a bad tone. So that all ties into customer service, making sure you have a really good step-by-step process and it's clear for the guest to check in. Checkout procedure, I would say kind of a contentious thing lately. Just if you've been following Airbnb's new updates, what's been happening when people have to pay a cleaning fee, or checkout procedures. And I'm going to joke on one. I think someone said they had to mow the lawn before they left.
Crazy.
No.
Yeah.
Make it clear, concise, and reasonable. You could some people literally do not even have checkout instructions. This is the level that is your business and how you want to see it for your property. We have a very, very simple checkout, and just say, I hope you had a great experience. Leave how you found it, and make sure that your stay was very comfortable, that you want people to rebook as well through it. So if it's a very lengthy checkout process, it's going to impact their experience as well.
100%. So this leads us to point number 7. And if you're liking and enjoying the video so far, make sure you go ahead, like and subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified of when future videos drop. But again, tying back to point number 7 here is you want to seek and act on feedback, because sometimes guests actually have really helpful things to say, and it comes from a helpful place. Sometimes people are not as kind about it, but at the end of the day, sometimes guests have really good suggestions on how you can actually provide a better experience and just make your property better for future bookers. So this is something you want to take a look at as your reviews start to roll in on your property. Sometimes people will not leave the feedback right in the review itself. Sometimes they'll just put it in private feedback. We personally have our team review every single review that comes in on a daily basis. And sometimes they might say something like, hey, awesome property, but would have been really nice to have a few more salad bowls. Our team will take that feedback. They'll go on Amazon. They'll automatically order whatever they're suggesting, and it's just there for the next guest, right? Now, obviously within reason, if someone says like, hey, it would have been nice if there was a pool at this property. Well,
Can you just build one for the next time I'm here?
If you're in a 30-story high-rise condo, may or may not be possible. And I know I'm being a little cheeky on this, but again, sometimes guests have helpful things to say. Sometimes guests are hard to please, but at the end of the day, this is hospitality. This is customer service. Sometimes feedback can be very impactful and can actually improve dramatically someone's experience as they come through in the future.
All right, so this ties into point number 8, which is availability for guests. So as I said earlier, when you're having conversations with guests, getting back to them as soon as possible is massive, but also communicating how they can reach out to you. So is it on the platform? Is it through texting? Is it through phone calls? Making sure you're very clear and concise on how you can actually have that communication with them, and making sure it's available in places. So your house manual, is it on your listing? Like making sure maybe there's a book in the property or a really good note that they know how to communicate to you, because you don't want customers and clients and guests having to dig for that information, and you want to have it readily available.
And this is really important too, because sometimes what can happen is things can happen in the middle of the night, and if someone calls and there's a leaking pipe or something like that,
like a pipe exploded and it's happened,
a small problem that gets dealt with right away can save you thousands of dollars versus finding out about it 12 hours later when it's far too late to do anything about it. And this is something that we've definitely experienced this several times in our hosting journey. So trust us on this point. You want to make sure you're getting back to people in a very timely manner, whether it's you or someone on your team is helping you with that process. So this brings us to point number 9, which is surprise and delight elements. Okay. So specifically what we're talking about here is really going the extra mile for your guests. Okay, so kind of doing the unexpected. What we personally like to do in our business is we like to find out the purpose of trip. Why is someone coming to town? What's the reason why they're stopping by? And by simply asking the question, people are going to tell you, right? They're coming into town for maybe a hockey game, or they're coming into town to celebrate someone's birthday. They're coming into town because of a wedding that's happening. By having these key details, you can then go that extra mile and perhaps drop off some additional gifts or incentives for someone that is actually going to be booking at your property.
So let's say maybe there's an anniversary and you want to do like a nice bottle of wine chocolates for them, right? Number 1, it shows that you listen to them, which is massive, and having a nice little card, and it makes you a memorable experience. You want repeat customers, great experiences, and it all ties into this and how you can be different from the different Airbnb hosts or the hotels. Like it's not just short-term rentals that you're competing against, it's also the hotels as well, and how that you can outrank and outbeat them and outcompete them.
Now, the final point, just to kind of tie all of this together, when it comes to providing good customer service, is just having an attitude of continuous improvement. I think about when we started our hosting journey back in 2018 compared to where it is now. Wow, what a difference in how far we've been able to come over the last number of years here. So what's really important here is you want to stay ahead of the trend. You want to see what's coming in the short-term rental industry. There's constantly new tools, new technologies, new ways of getting in touch with your guests, going that extra mile. And what's really important as you're kind of thinking through this as well, take a look at your reviews that are coming in, as I mentioned earlier on this video, and just see ways that you can make your property better. See if you're getting the same complaint over and over again, it's probably something that's a gap in your process, or there's something that needs to be fixed. If you're getting the same questions over again and again and again, put it in your house manual, put it in your welcome guide so that if the question does come up, you can say, hey, thank you so much. Really appreciate you reaching out. We actually address that in the house manual here, but here is the specific portion of the house manual that answers that question for you. Hopefully that helps. Let us know if there's anything else we can assist you with.
So getting into the short-term rental Airbnb game, there is a whole element of the customer service, and we want to make sure that you're doing it right. So these 10 elements really dial you in and make sure that you're giving the best experience for anyone coming through your door and making sure you're getting 5-star reviews and also superhost status. So I really hope you found a lot of value in the different elements for customer service. If you like this, please like and subscribe to the top video, and we are launching these twice a week. So please go ahead, have notifications turned on, and we'll see you in the next video, guys.
Take care.